There we go.
Live.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Soul Inspired Playground. I am your host, Madura Joshi, success and mindset business coach and author of a new book called Ignite the Magical Powers of Your Inner Genie. Feel free to go to www.igniteyourinnerpotential.ca to see more about what I do. And today I'm super excited to have on Sandy Mangis, who is a transformational coach. And we are going to discuss 3 ways to ditch the politics of corporate life and move on to living out the entrepreneurial dream. Welcome, Sandy. Thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited to have you here. So, just to start, maybe give us and our audience a little bit of details about how you came into this line of work.
Well, it's an exciting line of work because it doesn't feel like work for starters. But I was I was working one day in a corporate world, and I've been in the corporate world for more than 35 years. A career mom. I raised my kids. You know, was there in the politics and trying to get off and everything. And one day I just got really frustrated and tired and nothing was going right and everything was doing it, that I just kind of exploded in my office. And I just, I had to release all this energy. And I thought, you know what, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a way for me to expand, for me to get out and earn some money a different way, to get out of the politics, to get out of trying to figure out where my vacation time is going to fit in
Mm-hmm.
everybody else's time. I was tired of having to ask the boss for everything. I was just tired of all the different things that go on in the corporate world.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of you could probably relate if you're stuck in an office, or have to be there at a certain time every single morning and leaving it every night. And I have a basement office. I don't get to be outside very often or even see it. So it's a change that I had to make. I was you know exploding inside too. So I took it upon myself to reach out. And I went online and I thought, okay, there's got to be something else out there. And first
Mm-hmm.
off, I looked at, make money online here, make money online there. But, I tried some of those MLMs. I tried Mary
Mm-hmm.
Kay, and I tried selling jewelry, and I tried selling, all that kind of stuff. And I failed drastically. I just said, there's, what am I going to do? There's absolutely no way I can sell that kind of stuff anymore. I didn't want to do it. So I looked a little bit further and I found a blogging platform that encouraged me to write about my passions.
Awesome.
I didn't know what my passions were anymore. I didn't know what to write. I didn't know where to turn, and I says, well, what do I like? And I started looking around, and everything around me was my kids, my house, my family, my everything. But I didn't realize what I didn't like. What was there something that I really liked? So I went searching for that. And through my journey, I found who I was again. I found my passions, and I love to inspire others. I love to motivate others. And with all the business experience, I'm also a business strategist along with that transformation, because I can help you set up a business online. you know if you want to have whatever you want to have, if you want to do a podcast, you want to do a blog, do you want to do a webinars like this one, do you
Mm-hmm.
want to, there's so many different ways that you could do that. And so I took it upon myself and said, okay, this is where I'm going. And it's fun reaching out and talking to other women. It's fun reaching out and talking to some men. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people doing a business like this. And and I have found that everybody's happy.
Yes.
Everybody in this world is happy. then when you go back to that corporate world and you go back to that job and you have to sit there and listen to all the drama going on, and nobody's happy, really happy. And that's where I want to tell you that there is a place to go. There is something that you could create from inside of you. Take your passions and make it grow. No matter what your passion is, we can make a business for it. And we can show you who to talk to and what to do. So that's kind of who I am and where I come from and why I got started.
Awesome. That sounds so exciting. I know I was kind of given the opportunity because I got laid off. So I totally know the drama can totally drain that inner spirit inside someone, especially women, because it's hard in corporate life to be a woman and move up the ladder. There are many who do it, but it's not as easy as a man. Even to this day, it's tough. So having the drama, having to ask your boss all the time, can I take time off? Especially for me, I have a small son. If he were to be sick or whatnot, it would be challenging because I'd be constantly asking, oh, can I take this time off for his vaccination? Or can I take this much time off for going somewhere with him or whatnot? So yeah, having your own time freedom, I think for a lot of, especially women, I find is a huge thing because they want to be able to stay home and raise their child, which they don't have an opportunity to do that if they're working in the corporate lifestyle. It's very difficult. So that's awesome that you were able to say you took it upon yourself to say, you know what, I'm done. I'm taking the plunge. I'm going to find something else that makes me happy.
Oh,
so that is
definitely
awesome. So what would you say are kind of 3 ways that someone who's looking or kind of has maybe a brick and mortar and wants to take it online, how would they really go about starting this entrepreneurial journey or even maybe making it better than it currently is?
For me, what I have found is the easiest way is to start a blog, because blogs are going, if you look around, every corporate business is now starting to have a blog.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to take your business and compete with some of the other people, you need to have an interaction place. You need to have a home on the internet. You need to have a place that you can pull people in and say, here, look around, look what you got. And when you do that, then you can start writing articles, or you can start sharing things that you like. You can start, putting ads on the side, all that kind of stuff. It's your place for home. So a blog is very important no matter what you're doing. If you're doing a podcast or anything, you need to have a blog, some place to land on the internet. So it's you don't have to start out with getting a business license. You don't have to start out with getting all that stuff. You work yourself into that. So it's easier than some people think. And I was gonna say too that there's a couple people or some people don't realize that they really need that. I thought I had it all. I thought I had everything, So do it now while you're kind of contemplating it, and not when it's frustration time and it's desperate.
Totally. So with a blog, how many blogs would you suggest someone start out with? And how many blogs should they continue to do on, is it a daily basis? Is it a weekly basis? Can they decide what works for them? What would you suggest?
Well, it really depends on what you're blogging about. You can have one blog and you can make different categories. If you have certain categories, but if you come up with 10 different things, you don't want more than 10 categories. So if it's really completely different, you can have 2 blogs. There's, because I have one blog for my inspiration and motivation. I have one blog for my podcasts. I have one blog for my opportunities, things like that. But until you really get to know how a blog works, I would just stick with one. And just start writing and start categorizing until you really find your way to go, and I kind of lost my train of thought. So sorry. Okay. You basically were talking about the blogs and different ways to go about that.
And how many times should they post a week Like, is it supposed to be a daily thing, a weekly thing, a monthly thing? What is the best way to go about that?
You know, it really doesn't matter. The part that matters is your consistency. You know, if you're going to blog, determine if you're going to do it 3 times a week, twice a week, every day. You know, sometimes in the very beginning, if you really want to get known and get your word out there, blogging every day is great until you get an audience. But you could blog once a week, once a month. It doesn't matter as long as you do it consistently and then monetize it. You know, spread the word about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you have one really good piece of content, you can do it once a month and then just find different ways to avenue it out into the world.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many different social media sites, there's SEO sites, there's, you know, blogging sites, there's so many different places to monetize.
Mm-hmm.
That just be consistent is what you need to do.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I think blogging is a great way to start. I only recently got my blog up and running, but yeah, it's a great way also to just release everything that's going, all the creative juices that are flowing through you, and put it on paper so that you can help other people. Maybe if it's something you're struggling with and you want to help someone else avoid that struggle, you can write about that. So yeah, blogs I think are a great way to start, and a cheap way to start, because it's not very expensive. There's lots of blogging platforms out there, I think, right now that are free, correct?
There are some that are free, you know, and when you're first starting, it might be the way to go,
Mm-hmm.
or get into a program, a blogging platform that gives you the extra tools. You
Mm-hmm.
know, sometimes when you get those extra tools, then you could really learn how it could work for you. You know, so I almost suggest getting a platform that has the plugins and has
Mm-hmm.
the tools,
Yeah.
because sometimes those can be cheaper than
Mm-hmm.
trying to get all the plugins for yourself.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I guess it depends on how much you're willing to spend, but I think you have to invest in your business to make it grow anyways. So yeah, having something that has all the tools will definitely help you get the right foot forward, instead of then struggling after the fact to get everything done.
Right, right.
So what would be another way that someone could really start on this journey or improve on this journey?
You know, you can, it depends on who you are and where you're at. You know, for someone who really didn't know what they needed, was looking for it and didn't have, you know, the passions and stuff, just start looking, start writing, start, you know, creating. You know, if you like crafts, start creating crafts. You know, I have a friend that blogs her crafts. If you like to cook and, you know, you have a different cooking style, you know, start with your cooking style.
Mm-hmm.
If you write books or love to read, lots of them out there will share the different books that they're reading, you know, do
Mm-hmm.
summaries on reading. You know, there's so many different avenues, and if you're not quite sure where to start,
Mm-hmm.
just look around. You know, my eyes started opening on everything that I saw. And I
Mm-hmm.
always tried to take what I saw and turn it into some business aspect of some sort, you know, so different things like that. So I was trying to find my own voice, and I
Mm-hmm.
was trying to get creative. And after a while, I started looking and categorizing my blog because it got so big I couldn't find anything. Okay, now I want to put that kind of into an ebook. You know, you can
Mm-hmm.
create your own ebooks and spread, you know, what knowledge that you have up here in your brain,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and my ebook turned into 186 pages, and that's where my actual
Wow.
book came from, you know. So it's just creative, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and when you have something to say, it's amazing how well and how fast you can come up with 500 words, 2,000 words. It just, you know, and then
Mm-hmm.
finding poems. And you know, there's one other person that I ran into in the blogging platform, and he was a musician, and he talked about all the guitars, all the different
Wow.
kinds and how you can get them fixed. There's another one that wants to build an app, you know, for like motorcycles and stuff like that, so he's going to start a blog on motorcycles. You know,
Wow.
it's all this kind of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
then you, when you create that and get that content, And once that gets flowing, then you'll find different ways to help you fund it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's an online business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not everything creates its own, own funding. So you'll have side business, or you'll have this, or you'll have that, all the different things that you want to add into it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it even more fun, because you just get to meet more people.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, totally. No, and I think having how you've separated your blogs into your podcasts as well as ones that just are for the inspiration, I think that's brilliant. I never thought of that, but it's definitely an idea that I'll probably take and create that, because I do have a blogging platform, two separate ones, but I'll definitely use my second one now to use for all my podcasts, which I think are great, because I think if you do keep it on all one, then it can get confusing, and you might not be able to keep your audience very, how would I say it? You want to keep them specific to what they're looking for, rather than get confused with all the content out there. So no, I think
And
that's great.
even with all the categories, you still lose things,
Yeah.
and you've got some really great content out there, but people can't find it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I think
definitely.
that's great, because it can get confusing as you build up your kind of your repertoire of blogs. It can get quite challenging to keep everything like, oh, okay, this is the category for this, if you just all leave it out in the open. So I think you're totally right to get everything separate, so people can find things easily and then don't lose interest in what you have to say.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah.
So other than blogs, what are other venues that you can take to kind of start this journey?
There's many different things that you can do. There's platforms that teach you how to get leads, and they've got a lot of good training on a lot of other things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
There's platforms on teaching you marketing. You can get into a platform like that teaches you marketing, and they can, walk you through different things like that. There's platforms on, well, those are the basic ones that I'm in, but there are many different kinds of platforms. There's platforms on just podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
that teach you that. There's platforms on getting membership sites.
Mm-hmm.
There's what else am I trying to think of? There's so many different things that after a while you want to start it all.
Yeah.
But you have to. One thing I have learned in this kind of a world, you have to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's an opportunity around every corner, and you think, oh, that's really great. Oh, that's really great.
Mm-hmm.
And the more people that you talk to and the more people that you reach out to, they're all going to say, well, come and do this with me. Come and do that with me. And you have to learn where your focus is. You have to learn where you want to go and what your vision is, and stick to that. And sometimes that could be really hard in the beginning, and you have
Mm-hmm.
10 different things going, and you can get overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
Overwhelmed is one of the first things that we tend to get into.
Yeah. It's true.
But yeah, but sitting back and knowing who you are, writing out your story, writing out what you want, and then focusing on that will keep you grounded,
Mm-hmm.
and help you say no to some of the things that are out there that might be interesting but you're not ready for.
Mm-hmm.
So, because
Yeah.
I started a few things that I got in over my head, and I had to back off, and so it
I
happens.
I think that's all part of the entrepreneurial journey, is that you do that. It's all shiny and exciting, and people have all these promises, and then you jump in and you're like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? There's so much information. I don't even know where to start. And a lot of times there might not be the mentorship that we are looking for. And it's kind of a self-serve, learn at your own pace type deal. So unless you're really a go-getter, sometimes all of that stuff can be overwhelming. So I totally understand it. I've done that. Get in, people have said so many promises, this will happen, that will happen, and you'll learn all this stuff. And then at the end of the day, you step back and you're like, oh my God, I haven't learned anything. I've spent all this money, but yet what have I gotten out of it? So yeah, saying no, I think, is key, and really focusing in on what it is that you're wanting to learn, where you're wanting to take this business. And yeah, you're right on point with that one, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that.
Well, and the other thing that really, really helped me after I got to the point where, you know, I was still struggling, I knew where I was going, I had this, I had all these things going. I went and I invested in a mentor. And it was just amazing the things that I could do after that. You know, because having somebody else look at what you're doing, having somebody else analyze some of the things, you know, and that you have to learn how to take criticism.
Yes.
You have to learn how to be judged. You have to learn how to do this, but they're there to help you. You know, granted, you paid for it, but still, the really good mentors are there to help you. And there's a lot of them out there, you know, individuals, one-on-ones, you can get into a group session, you can buy programs to get into it, you know, all this kind of stuff. But investing in yourself, either with a mentor or a program or something, is key, you know, to really make it in the entrepreneurial world.
Oh, 110%, I think. And it's not just because I'm a coach, but for me, I even got myself a coach because I couldn't do this on my own. It's a whole new area. Just like you have a boss, you need someone to kind of guide you. But this is someone that is guiding you to help you kind of bring your vision and your dreams to life, rather than someone else's dreams and vision to life. So it's a different platform. But yes, investing in yourself, I think, is definitely key to any success. Be it if you want to work out at the gym, for example, having a personal trainer to help motivate you to get you to that next level is sometimes the key that you need if you don't have the motivation to go on your own. Or I think there's difference in every aspect of life. Having someone mentor you in whatever direction you're taking this is probably one of the biggest things to do if you want to see success at a faster rate, and if you want to see success at all. And I know that might be hard for some people to hear, but I think without that, it's hard.
It is because you feel alone. You're just, you know, and it can be alone. You know, you're working in your office out of your home or park or wherever you want to be at that time, which is awesome. But still, you have to push yourself. You have to make your own deadlines. You make your own goals, all of that kind of stuff. But if you have a mentor or a peer or a group that you are in, you tend to almost push yourself more because you want to show them that you did something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I think, when you have that accountability to someone other than yourself, you're more likely to see the success because you don't want to look bad in front of them. It's easy to look bad in front of yourself, but looking bad in front of someone else is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. That's where the criticism comes into play.
I know. I know I don't like not having something done if my coach has said, hey, this is the deadline for what we had discussed. And if for whatever reason I'm not able to get it done, I hate sending that message or that email or that phone call to say, by the way, I need an extension, or I'm going to be taking this much longer. Because it's kind of like that icky feeling, like, oh, it's like asking that professor, hey, I need that extra time, but it's that icky feeling that you really don't like to do. But I think but it's the best way to really push you to achieving more than you ever thought possible.
Yeah. And you can. It's amazing when you finish it. You know, when I wrote that book and got it published, it's like, had it in my hands, it was just amazing feeling. You know, it might not be the best book, but you know, it's mine.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's my blog. Look at me online. Look at this. Look at that. You can stand up straight and tall and say, I have done something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my coworkers, they were saying, how did you have time to write a book? I says, you know what? I just did it.
Mm-hmm.
I took this part and I took that part. I had most of it written anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to change it because a book and a blog are a little different
Yeah.
formats. But still, just knowing that I had come up with something, I had found something,
Mm-hmm.
I had pulled something out of me,
Mm-hmm.
just made me feel so much better. And that's where the transformational comes from.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it goes, and that's what we want to help others do too,
Mm-hmm.
because the world needs to be happier. And if everybody can find this kind of a happy world, it's amazing.
Oh, completely. I think we all need being in a happy place. And it's not always happy. There are frustrations, but for the most part, it's happy. Like you can schedule your own time, you have your time freedom, you can do what you want. You're not asking for people's approval. Hey, I want to go sit in the park and do work. If you had a boss, they'd probably tell you, well, if you're going to go do that, please don't come back, or you're out of your mind. That's not possible. Working from home is not a thing. So I think, yeah, you're totally right. Having that, pulling that, even when I finished writing my book and I published it, I felt that exact same thing. Like, oh my God, that was all in me. And it's now on paper and it's published. Like, where did this come from? But it's exciting. It's exciting to see when you reach those new levels of achievement that you might have never thought were even a possibility or even in the picture that you had envisioned for yourself. So
Yes,
I think
most
that's
definitely.
amazing to meet another author that has done that. So, and for the third point, what would you say is kind of your go-to that you tell your clients on how to really leave that area?
You know, basically, if you're going to do something like this, go all in. You know, go to the highest level that you can, because it'll make life a lot easier. You know, no matter what you are going to choose it all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if because if you just do this as a hobby, or, you know, choose, well, I'm gonna just kind of play with it a little bit, or I'll look and see if it's gonna work. I will tell you right now, it won't. You know, it really won't work unless you put your all into it, be dedicated. You know, you really want that. You know, when you write down your story and really, really, truly see where you want to go from to, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
your avatar is yourself, you know, and, you know, I basically teach people how to find their avatar, and then match the skills.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't want to put it all in, if you don't want to make that sacrifice to say, okay, this is what I'm doing, and hit that button to do it, then you might as well quit before you start. You know, it's not cut out for everybody.
Oh.
Not everybody can do it. Not everybody can be their own boss.
Mm-hmm.
Not, you know, it, it, it just depends. If you really want to try, you have to go all in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's extremely wise words, because I think if you don't put your all into it, you don't have enough invested in it to realize what, if you don't go for it, what you're going to lose.
Right.
And I think that when you go all in and you really understand why you're doing it, you really will then say, okay, well, I don't have any other choice. Like, this is happening. There's no option otherwise.
You
And
burned the bridge behind you.
yeah, for me, example, I refuse to ever go back to work for someone because I want to stay home with my son. I want to be able to raise my son and future children that I plan to have. And working for someone else and driving into downtown and dealing with public transit, all of that, I don't miss it. I really don't miss it at all, because it's not me. Like, as much as I loved working in corporate, it was crushing my my soul in a sense. which I think a lot of people feel, but they just are too afraid to take that plunge.
Yeah. You know, and it is scary. You know, it is very, very scary to take a plunge like that. You know, it depends on which platform you get into. You can spend thousands of dollars, you know, or you can, you know, start from scratch and work your way up, you know. But if you don't invest in yourself and go all in and really truly know it and burn those bridges behind you, then there's always that, well, I can, you know, I can go back there. Or, yeah, well, if this doesn't work today, I'll just, you know, try it again later. It's not a one of those, you know, you can't draw straws. You can't do this. It's go for it, you know. And if you dig down deep and really want something different, you know, I my kids are already grown. There's nothing at home, but do I just want to sit and watch the news and, you know, maybe read a book or whatever, go to sleep and do it all over again the next day? Or do I want to get out there and live? Do I want to get out there and do something creative? You know, those are the things that you have to think about when you want to get started. You know, if you really truly want to change, dig down deep and say, why am I doing this? What am I doing it for? And find the reason.
Yeah.
And she's shaking her head.
Yeah, I completely agree. Because if you don't have that why and you don't know why you're doing it, you will run into that fear or those limiting beliefs that will pop up and can easily bring you back to what you weren't happy with to begin with. And you'll lose the momentum that you've had, you'll lose the determination, and you'll want to quit. That's what it comes down to. You'll quit. And then you'll say, and then you'll be able to tell yourself, well, I told you so. I told you it wasn't going to work. And then it's just that cycle all over again, instead of being able to tell yourself, look how far you've come because you decided and you made that choice to take that step forward. But yeah, without a why and not knowing and digging deep to see what you're capable of, you will fail before you've even stepped foot into the world of being an entrepreneur.
Right.
Hands down. I think that's completely completely right. So what would be your one piece of advice that you could give someone who's looking to start on this journey or even take it to the next level by going all in? Maybe they had done this as a hobby first, but if it's just one piece of advice that our viewers could take away, what would that be?
Never give up. You know, if this is something that you really want, and the entrepreneurial bug has bit you, never give up. You know, if one piece isn't working, then you need to look back and say, is there another piece that I was missing? You know, there's so many different opportunities in this online world. There's something for everybody. And, you know, your market is never small. Your market is never, you know, it's never going to be small, because you are different than the other person, and you reach different people than the other person. So if one thing isn't working, look at it, analyze it, tweak it, and try it again, you know. So never give up. That's my advice. Never, ever give up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sandy. I'm sure our viewers are going to love the pieces that you've provided today and the tips and tricks to getting their entrepreneurial journey going and leaving the political crap behind, as I like to say it. All those politics, those corporate office politics that really can eat away at your soul if you're not careful. So thank you so much. And next week, we will be back on the Soul Inspired Playground for more amazing tips and tricks to really igniting that creative genie within you to enjoy the journey of being an entrepreneur. You can go to www.igniteyourinnerpotential.ca for more details, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much. Take care, guys.